working with couples, helping your clients move beyond conflict. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe the underlying factors that drive conflict and apply a systematic process for moving your clients through conflict to resolution. Earlier in this course, you learned how to engage in a difficult conversation with your clients. As part of that lesson, you discovered that there are 3 parts to a difficult conversation. 1, differences in each person's underlying story, their perspective of what happened. 2, differences in underlying unresolved feelings. And 3, differences in how the conflict attacks the person's sense of self-worth. These issues definitely raise their heads again when working with couples in conflict. We certainly understand that each of our clients is unique. That uniqueness, their personal values, their beliefs and money tapes, the way the person processes information and perceives reality, the individual's goal priorities, personality characteristics, and experiences, creates differences of opinion and tension. Sometimes those tensions result in emotionally charged meetings in which you, as the financial planner, may need to mediate. Kathleen Parks and Courtney Pullen suggest that there are 2 types of conflict: internal conflict and external conflict. The internal conflict reflects the fact that the issue or the issues on the table clashes with their deeply held beliefs, their values, biases, money scripts. Through active listening, you should be able to pick up verbal and nonverbal cues that point towards the source of that internal conflict. Now, as the person's internal dialogue continues to play over and over, it creates dissonance, which in turn generates emotion and feelings. As the authors of this article suggest, emotions are just the internal dialogue of each partner coming out as anger, resentment, judgment, or blame. In facilitating or mediating an emotionally charged discussion, the financial planner needs interpersonal skill sets and a process. The textbook authors, Brad Klontz, Rick Kahler, and Ted Klontz, advocate that it's essential for the planner to maintain neutrality in serving both clients. Neutrality infers a non-judgmental mindset, where each partner's unique perspective is honored. After all, the goal isn't to decide who is right or who is wrong. Rather, it's about helping the clients arrive at a collaborative solution that will help them achieve their common goal. In order to avoid siding with one client or another, it's important for the planner to be self-aware of his or her biases. Otherwise, the planner may unconsciously side with that partner whose beliefs and scripts are most like theirs. Professional boundaries are useful and necessary, particularly in emotionally charged situations. Maintaining emotional distance allows the planner to remain largely unaffected by the heated exchange, and that will allow him or her to offer clearer perspective. Remember, we serve as a trusted advisor and mediator to both partners. Kathleen Kingsbury echoes the idea in her article entitled Conflict Management for Advisors. She organizes her 8 suggestions for managing the discussion in a mnemonic: conflict, where the letters CONFLICT stand for curiosity, open-mindedness, nurturing, feelings, listening, impartiality, commitment, and team. By facilitating couple disagreements with a sense of curiosity, the advisor is positioned to be non-judgmental and open-minded. In nurturing a sharing conversation where feelings are expressed, there is the potential for greater understandings. You might recall that these 4 ideas align with the message of Stone, Patton, and Heen in their book, Difficult Conversations, which you investigated earlier in the course. In that book, the author suggested that it's important to move from delivering a message to a learning stance when engaged in those difficult conversations. A learning stance includes seeking understanding, sharing feelings, collaborating, and embracing curiosity. Active listening, impartiality, and commitment to the process will promote trust in your clients. You're serving an important role in mediating an important conversation at a time when your clients are emotionally compromised. Your skill in facilitating the conflict will make a difference. Finally, Kingsbury emphasizes that the partners need to be reminded that it's all about the team, their shared goal. It is certainly worthwhile for us to reflect on these communication and leadership tips because they will help us create a supportive environment for working through the process of conflict resolution. Process is always invaluable. As you know, the CFP Board's curriculum includes the 6-step systematic planning process in working with our clients. That process ensures consistency of service and communicates professionalism. Robbie McCauley offers a useful systematic process for working through family conflict. His 4-step process includes 1. Recognize the underlying issues causing the conflict. 2. Diffuse the tension between the couple. 3. Facilitate a win-win negotiation, which infers sharing of story and feelings, and synthesize a collaborative resolution. This construct is a useful frame for us as we work with our financial planning clients. Let's examine each of these 4 steps. The textbook authors offer specific recommendations for understanding the sources of couple conflict. They are employing active listening skills, applying therapeutic counseling skills, including paraphrasing and summarizing what you heard, asking open-ended questions to clarify, and naming and reflecting client emotions, and uncovering different money scripts of each partner. The communication skills you've learned during this course will elevate your ability to recognize the underlying issues. Courtney Poland and Kathleen Parks offer 2 interesting ideas for recognizing the underlying issues in their article, Planning for Couples. The first involves understanding both the similarities and the differences. Even in a conflict, there are important similarities. For example, both parents may disagree about how much to fund college expenses, but both agree that they want to assist their child. It's useful to broadcast the similarities as a way to de-escalate the conflict. Once the common interest is established, the differences can be addressed. Are those differences deeply rooted in unexamined money scripts? Or are all those differences more linked to personal feelings? A second idea is to follow the money trail. Numbers reveal a lot about the story. I remember attending a session at the FPA National Convention in which Marty Kurtz said that cash flow is where we act out our money scripts. Following the quantitative money tree, where the money is spent, how much is spent, can cast light on each partner's money scripts, values, and beliefs. As a mediator in the couple's conflict, one of your key objectives will be to de-escalate the external conflict so that the meeting can be productive. Progress will be sabotaged if the couple shut down because of emotional distress. Klontz, Kaler, and Klontz offer some specific ideas for diffusing the conversation. Strategic timeouts might be used when the argument becomes heated. A cooling off period provides both partners needed time to reset their emotional thermostat. Walk away, get something to eat or drink. Take time to just release some of that stress. Remember to remind the couple that the lens is the coupleship, not the individual. Decisions need to be to address the whole rather than the parts. It is also useful to separate the partner from the issues. For example, try reframing personality conflict, which flares up the emotions, to differences in money scripts, which is cognitive. In the article, Mediating a Family's Financial Conflict After a Job Loss, Austin Kilham describes 4 techniques for managing the meeting. 1. Establish the ground rules prior to the meeting. Those rules include common courtesies, such as permitting both parties to tell their stories without interruption, and an agreement by both parties to listen. Establishing the expectation that both partners tell their own story and share their feelings. Focus on understanding the points that both parties agree upon and those that drive the conflict and disagreement. And agree to an expectation that both partners will participate in brainstorming alternative solutions. The negotiation step in this systematic 4-step process can be aided when both partners realize that there are common goals and common intentions. A realization that there are commonalities might refocus the conversation back to the coupleship. When the focus is on mutual benefit, it helps the conflict move from a I win and you lose, or I'm completely right and you're completely wrong mentality, to a win-win mindset. Brainstorming the possibilities and synthesizing alternative possibilities is a fundamental part of the negotiation process. Notice that Ed Koff offers similar recommendations for managing the negotiation in his article, Keeping Cool: The Art of Family Negotiations. The negotiation includes clear ground rules, including common courtesy, timeouts when needed, and a clearly delineated time frame. A clearly described purpose, a frame of mutual benefit, and recognition of mutual respect. With this agreement in place, the partners are free to brainstorm creative solutions and to assess alternative paths. Notice that both of these articles on negotiating conflict emphasize the importance of ground rules. An upfront agreement to cooperate allows progress to be made. Once the possibilities are identified, both parties can view the alternatives and consider which are most acceptable. It's not necessarily a compromise, rather, it's more like a mutually agreed upon path to a common goal. You're there to facilitate the discussion. Mutual implementation can bring closure to the conflict and help the clients move forward. Examples of implementation following disagreement include agreements on how money will be used, decisions on how assets are to be segregated or commingled, adopting a policy-based financial plan, for example, a policy on systematic savings, policy on saving for capital assets that cost more than 1 or 2 months of income, a policy on how to use debt, or a policy on tithing and donations. These collaborative decisions can go a long way in eliminating similar disagreements moving forward. Conflict resolution is a process, and many advisors fail to have a clearly defined process. Quoting Lauren Klein, a financial planner who was cited in the Mediating a Family's Financial Conflict After a Job Loss article, said, as advisors, we always say we're dealing with feelings, but a lot of people are afraid to address feelings because they do not have a process. In this lesson, you learned about issues that cause financial conflict with couples and a 4-step process for helping clients move beyond conflict and towards resolution.